I'm just
excuse me.
Let's talk about the card. To me, the most amazing moment of the night after hearing what I heard was Alistair Overeem. That to me was the most amazing. I mean, first of all, I didn't think he was going to win. I picked everything wrong again.
Did you really?
Yeah. You know, I'm a big Mark fan.
Well, let me tell you, I thought that Overeem was going to win. I actually had him picked, but I really can't take credit for that pick because I thought he'd do it on the floor. I didn't think I thought he was going to look to take him down and work him over.
Look, he's got great legs, great kicking.
Yeah, no, listen.
But I thought a punch lands a punch. And Overeem is susceptible for being hit by a big punch and falling.
And his chin, it's not that it's suspect, but it is. Well, I mean, you don't want to say that.
He's a little older.
Weird,
he's been fighting for a long time.
When your lights get put out,
yeah.
Again, it's that much more likely that you get hit again. You can be going out easier than you did back in the day when you first started or before you've been through so many wars, before you took so many punches, especially at heavyweight. So, I mean, I was worried about, because Mark, even though Mark Hunt's been put down before, he's known for his chin. I think only
once. Didn't he only get put down once? I want to say was it Travis Brown?
No, JDS. Junior Dos Santos.
Did Velasquez?
Junior Dos Santos did spin kicked him off the head.
Did Verdum fight Hunt or no?
I'm looking. Yeah. He kneed him in the face.
He did put him in the knee.
Yeah, he's another one that kneed him. Very good, Jimmy.
That's
right, Jimmy. Very, very good.
I was worried about this. Could Mark Hunt, again, like you said, he's been put out a couple of times after a long time of not.
Yeah.
But if he hits you once, he gets the right shot, you're done.
But let's talk about those knees.
Overeem? Yeah. They don't look as painful as I'm sure they are.
Really?
Yeah, they look unpleasant. In replay, you're like, oh, God, that's awful.
That one, in the first one, you see his knees give and then catch. Like he almost was dropped right for it was he never it was only a split second after that he followed up with the following knee that kind of glanced, and then that right hand, I believe, that just sealed it. But he was already on his way down.
And do you
think
that
is a face plant? That was not pretty.
I'll tell you what Mark Hunt did well was they got in the clinch when he closed the distance a little bit, and they got into a clinch and he was throwing elbows. He threw a couple of fucking great elbows.
Oh, listen, that guy's he's a dangerous dude. He put to sleep a lot of people. He's known for that Mark Hunt walk off. You know what I mean? The guys are like a tree falling and he's walking off, already, right? Celebrating. But listen, man,
did Overeem look a little heavier than normal to you? He looked like he was. I'm wondering if that was he wanted to bulk up for.
It definitely looked a little bit more. He looked pretty solid. He looked in really great shape. And he said he took some time. He could have fought earlier. But what was really impressive is this. And now this is what I think you were about to get to, is that he had food poisoning. And he wasn't even, and what I even like, what's even more impressive, the fact that he fought and he was really sick and in the hospital, is that he didn't mention a thing. He didn't mention it in the cage to Joe Rogan. He wasn't mentioning it backstage during the post-fight press conference. Dana actually went to him, and you hear Dana, because the mic wasn't too far away, he goes, listen, thank you. He went over to him, said in his ear, but it was loud enough where you heard it on the mic until Overeem put the mic down. He goes, listen, thanks for doing that. We appreciate it. And then Dana was going to walk away, and he said, you know what? He goes, look, do you guys know he was sick? He goes, did you know that? He goes, he had food poisoning, throwing up, and all the stuff that comes with it. And that, he was in the hospital. He came back, went back to the hospital. Look, man.
How bad does Mark Hunt feel to know that he got knocked out by a guy who was vomiting and shitting 10 minutes ago? Poor Mark Hunt.
That's definitely a little salt in the wound.
Overeem, to have that kind of tank, to be able to do that after vomiting, although I'm sure it helps with a weight cut, but to be puking. What did he eat? What did he eat that gave him food poisoning?
I don't know, man.
I bet you he had sushi. I'm going to bet you it was fucking raw fish.
I wouldn't eat that shit.
Because that's not that fattening, so you could probably eat that the night before a fight.
Dude, I don't know. I'll throw up even without food poisoning.
Did he get it after his cut? Like after the weigh-ins?
I believe so, because they said right up.
He's not trying to cut, though.
No, it was.
That point.
Yeah, but it wasn't the cut. It was after that. It was like within 24 hours.
But I think the reason he fought was he understood that if he had pulled out of that fight.
Imagine that.
Dana White would have been found swinging by the neck.
Yeah, right.
Poor Dana would not have been able to survive two fights canceled.
Dana made a point of it to go to that and say it. And, there's other guys in the past, whether it's especially after a loss, but they're like, oh, I had a cracked skull or I had this or that. And it's like, whenever they do that, it's like, oh, because I know what it's like to, no pun intended, come up short in a fight. And and want to be like, yeah, but this happened and that happened, and I could have been better if I had that.
Sure.
But you can't do that because you look like an asshole, and you showed up, your opponent, and you don't know what your opponent has.
That's right.
Nobody's showing up there 100%. Very rarely. Very rarely. You usually in a camp, you have to work around something.
You do, right?
You do.
Like
man.
even my little tendonitis that I've complained about today, if you want the truth, my little pinky toe on my left foot's hurting, so I couldn't do the weight vest.
If I felt it a little today, the tendon. I felt a little like when I had Drago cross-eyed on me, and I was like, I use my frames. Like I keep frame work up. You understand what I mean by that?
No.
So, well, it's in other words, if my arms are out when somebody's across my side, it's easy for them to get taken in arm locks and, you know what I'm saying, and strangled and whatnot, to set up chokes. But when I have my arms in tight underneath, I can make space. They're not out for the taking. But sometimes when the guy puts the weight, it bends your arm a little more. So that's what you're saying, the tendonitis you might feel.
I'd feel it at a lot of other times as well. I wouldn't just have to be framing. I'd be doing a lot of things.
Oh, I bet.
I
bet. But you know what? Listen, and first, all right, yeah. So big props to Overeem for that fight because that is really.
I couldn't get over that. Mark Hunt looked really because first of all the blonde hair doesn't help when he's bloodied. Hey, what's up, GSP? How you doing, George?
I'm happy George.
I was just gonna wait till you guys were done.
You know, I'm really happy George is calling because I don't. People think You know what I don't like? I don't like when people. Like they might like me, but they go, "Oh man, I love you. I hate that George. I hate that." I go, "Dude, you could like me and not hate that guy."
Absolutely.
I don't hate George. Why are you hating George?
I like George.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like you don't have to choose one or the other.
I don't like him more than I like you.
Thank you, Jimmy. If you said you did like him more, I swear I would leave.
Overeem, Hunt was bloodied, man. He bloodied Mark Hunt. He really beat him. Although Hunt had a couple of really solid moments, and I think he hurt Overeem.